Hello ladies and gentlemen, we are back online after what seems like a month being away from being online. So welcome to our live streams. My name's Derek, and we also got Mike here on the side, Mike Dennis.
I'm here. Hello.
Mike's visible.
Hi.
But only slightly visible. And please, whatever you do, don't take a look at our background. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on right now with moving things around, and it's going to look like a disaster zone in here. So whatever you do, don't look behind me. Just look at my somewhat normal face. There we go. Okay, so we're going to be live streaming questions and answers for people who want answers and have questions. And you can also tell me about cars that you want to take a look at. Drinking green tea today. And yeah, so question in the chat. If you speak Korean, then I don't understand. Ayako, you want to read this Korean?
I don't know if I can.
Can you at least pronounce it? The person's name, maybe. So let's see who's in the chat here. So let's see who we got. Of course, we got Bill. He came in first, as usual. Elizabeth Rubelkava. I'm going to show you the Korean here. This one. Taeyuin.
안녕하세요. 안녕하세요.
So somebody says hello
Yeah.
in Korean. That's cool. Hey, how you doing? We don't normally speak Korean.
반갑습니다.
that person that you just somewhat saw is our new staff member, and so maybe in the future you guys will get to know her a little bit more. She's sorting things that are going out for sale at the moment. So yeah, let's see who else that we have in the chat. We got Nissan Z33 Z-Tune. That would be rad if they made a Z33 Z-Tune. We got Blind Ears. I don't think I've seen you before in the chat, so welcome. Do you buy box Chevy Caprices in Japan? Do they buy them? I don't really know. I haven't seen them that often. A lot of older American cars, well, not a lot. Relatively speaking, you see them every once in a while, old American cars. They're very cool. But none of kind of the Malaise era, boxy type American cars. Usually cars from the 70s and then, you know, 90s and on for American cars. We got the Jono 395. Who's that, Jono? Don't know. It's weird having, you know, I think a bunch of people in the chat probably either know me or I know them, but because I don't recognize people's screen names, then I don't really know. John Clark's here. 9AMAC8 is here. You got a question there. Thoughts on the Soars? Most of them seem to be manual. I'm pretty interested in them. I'd say probably about 20% of the Soars are manual, and 90. So they started that Soarer, the Z30, JZZ30 in 1992, and from 92 until 95 they had a twin turbo 1J, lovely engine. But then from 96 until whenever they stopped, I don't know, they got the single turbo version of the engine, which is so much better than the twin turbo version. And finding them in manual is hard. They're a popular drift car, even though they're kind of heavy, but the 1J makes them reliable and fast and easy to tune, and so lovely cars. A lot of them in bad condition, but if you can find them in good condition, I don't think you'd be sad with them. Other than the fact that, you know, these days a lot of people want a 4-door vehicle, 2-door vehicle, especially a large 2-door vehicle is just not as sought after anymore, but maybe that's going to come around. Maybe people are going to be sick of carrying their friends around, and so opt for a 2-door instead of a 4-door going forward. I like how our Korean friend says South Korea, in case there was any sort of a question whether North Koreans are watching this stream or not. Okay, Hunts by Chainsaws here. Nicholas Pickles. Anyone in the chat know Nicholas Pickles? I was actually just watching some videos of him on YouTube last week. Emu Plays, John Clark, Elizabeth, everybody, what's up? How many people we got in the stream so far? Let's just move this down so that I can see. So we got 24 people as it is right now, so welcome everybody. And let's jump into our car selection right away here. So I'll just go to auction.pacificcoastjdm.com. Whoops. And log in with the guest account, which gives you access to all the cars if you want to. You don't get restricted from anything with the guest account. The only thing is you can save searches in this. and you can favorite cars. And then if you're using the guest account, then you're saving searches on the guest account, which other people might get rid of those searches. So you can make your own account if you want. It's not that difficult, and it's free. So yes, please do that. If Jono is the John that I know, I sent you a message on Line or something. You need to get back to me because I want to lift our BB. John, I was wondering if it was you too, because you're the only John I know that goes by Jono. Jono 395. Also, how's business going for you these days? Keeping busy? Are tuner cars stolen in Japan as often as they are in the U.S.? I don't know how often tuner cars are stolen in the U.S. In Japan, whenever I hear a car is stolen in Japan, it always seems to be a tuner car, but that's not to say that it happens that frequently. It could be that there's only a market for tuner cars to be stolen because cars in Japan are generally so cheap with such little value anyway. A tuner car might have value in parts, or it might be that people who drive tuner cars. I see you looking at me, Mike. You have something to say?
No, I'm wondering. I'm curious.
People who drive tuner cars may be more willing to go to social media when it comes to their car being stolen because there's a higher chance of their car being retrieved, whereas a normal person would be like, well, my appliance got stolen, I guess I'll insurance cash out, and they aren't really attached to their cars in the same way that tuners might be attached to their cars. So it's really hard to tell. I think it's easy to jump to conclusions and say that yes, they're stolen more frequently, but I wouldn't necessarily say unless I had the solid stats on that. Chilling and enjoying the show. Yeah, that's cool. So Mike,
Yes.
how was your weekend?
It was good.
Good?
Yeah, I enjoyed Hanami season.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
You know, we haven't. So Hanami, that's viewing cherry blossoms, and this weekend was perfect, other than the rain.
Yeah, it was a bit cloudy, but when we went, we didn't have any rain.
It's perfect, other than the rain.
Yeah.
The worst thing that you can do on Hanami.
Yeah, and we didn't have any rain. We were in Nakameguro.
We haven't gone Hanami-ing, viewing cherry blossoms in several years. Maybe, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years.
It's really crowded.
That's part of the reason why I don't like it.
Yeah.
Is so there are limited parks that have cherry blossoms, and all of those parks have, like, all the people in Japan want to do this every year within this 1 to 2 week or 10-day window that the cherry blossoms are available.
Yeah.
And this leads to back-to-back tarps of so many people, and I just, being in a space that crowded, sitting on the ground with no chairs, I don't know.
Not desirable.
I think I really liked it for the first few years, but the novelty of it wore off on me. But I think to a Japanese person that probably isn't the same because it's such a nostalgic thing. A lot of the adults here remember good times being a kid and playing with their friends during that kind of, with other families. So
And
I think it's
kinda
one
like
of those
the
things.
ushering in of spring, right? As well. Like
And
good
allergy
thing
season,
prepared.
so everyone's sitting on their tarps drinking beers, which is really funny because here in Japan there's no laws against drinking in a public place, or if there are, I'm just not clear what they are. But in Hanami season, everybody gets drunk in the park,
Right.
which to people like in Canada, you definitely can't do that. I'm assuming it's the same in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is kind of interesting to be able to go drink in public around an awful lot of other drunk people in public in a cramped little space like sardines. Very strange.
We didn't picnic, but we still want to, so maybe soon.
Oh, you just went for like a Hanami walk?
Yeah, just walked around Nakameguro and everything and ate and
That's nice. What did you eat?
found an extremely delicious cake shop. I don't know
Cool.
what their name is though, but it's delicious.
Just going through the chat a little bit more.
I have a car as well.
Sure, let's bring up a car so that people who jump in are like, what's going on here? Why am I looking at a computer screen with a tiny little man in the corner?
Would you like
From now on, I'll be known as Tiny Little Man.
in the corner? Would you like the Sora that we translated or a Daihatsu Mira?
Do whatever you think is good. I'm just a tiny little man sitting over here in the corner.
Tiny little man, could you please bring up 20438? A few people have been asking about Soras, so perhaps this is... I don't know, there's a lot to talk about though.
John, if you come in the chat and you say, I like to screw things, please know that I know you more than the other people in the chat. Oh, you're showing me USS Yokohama cars.
Yeah, it's USS.
Do I have permission to call you a dillweed?
Yes, please.
Dillweed.
2003. There's no USS cars.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
in case you guys don't know or your first time in the chat, we can't show USS cars because of, I don't know. No good reason. But we can't show any other auction. But USS cars tend to be the best ones, so it is a little bit annoying. So I wonder if we got Flavian in the chat because he knows lots about these kind of cars. Daihatsu Mira TRXX Avanzato R. Okay. So this looks like your standard fare late 80s, early 90s K car. This one here is at 1994. So these, I don't know if the TRXX version is the 4-wheel drive one. Let's have a quick look at that. Nope, 2-wheel drive version. And cool red and black two-tone paint, cool 90s like decals on the side. I think it's a good looking car, and you have to remember too that being a K car, this is going to be much smaller than most other vehicles. This will be probably around the size of an original Mini. And the square fog lights, very cool. Hood scoop, because it's a functional hood scoop on a turbocharged engine. And we'll go over the auction inspection sheet here. So it's a 94 Mira Auction Grade 3, which a lot of K cars, unfortunately, they're not built to last. And so when a car becomes 25 years old, like this one is, legal for the USA, there's a good chance that it's not going to be in the best of conditions. Exterior D, interior C, 146,406 kilometers. The sales points are turbo car with manual transmission. And it looks like the body is really weak. We got a huge dent and scratch over here, huge dent and scratch over here. Marks from having this fender removed. Some scratches on front bumper, that doesn't look so bad. A U2 on the hood. U2 usually isn't that bad, but on the hood, they tend to be very visible. Not a very common place to get a dent, though. That means somebody dropped something onto the car. Big scratches on the back bumper, a cracked taillight here, and various other scratches and dents. It looks like it would probably be a good car to bring out to a track. A K car can be extremely fun on the Japanese tracks, which are fairly tight. Are you checking the bid, Mike?
Yes.
How many cars out is it?
Cars.
Okay. Oh, and this stream's only going to be half an hour because of how busy we are. So I'm sorry, everyone. We missed 2 weeks, and then we come in at half size for the next one. It's going to be annoying for those who like to sit back and relax and see the small man in the corner.
That's how I like to relax.
We don't have a video of that RX-7 in the lot. We've been kind of not having enough time to deal with any of our inventory cars. And it's just sitting there. And it's kind of annoying to drive. I think that only race car people want to drive it with the clutch that's in it right now because it has an engagement of like 5 millimeters. And then you go. So it's very annoying for anything that's not on a racetrack and very easy to stall. Okay, so back to this one. The Seedasagi headliner is ripped, which is a weird thing to get ripped. Dashboard has screw holes in it. Battery needs to be replaced. The interior liners have been modified. We don't have an interior picture to take a look at to see what they mean on that. End panel has a small bend in it. Underside surface rest side cover is taken off. Oh, I see. So on the door here, see, you can see the plastic piece that goes on the door. It's missing on this side. And a part like that would be pretty hard to find, I would think. And so likely you wouldn't be able to get a new one. Maybe it'd be best just to take it off of this side. And then maybe just do some sort of a smoothing because there might be holes in the door for where that attaches to. And I guess smoothing is the Japanese term for when they like put body filler over holes and then paint over it. Very scratches and dents. I don't know. It doesn't seem that bad. The body's pretty bad, but it's a little K car. It's probably going to go for cheap. I would say probably around 200,000 yen or so. You might be able to get it for less. The JU auctions, JU Ibaragi, is probably going to be a little bit on the cheaper side compared to USS auction. So maybe somewhere around 200,000 yen, maybe 150, and you could get lucky with a car like this, I would think. Someone wants to show a Mazda AZ1. I don't particularly like that car very much, so maybe there is one. You can go search for it yourself. Plenty of 90s Suburbans in Japan. I mean, you're not going to see one on the street every corner, but they're there. Yeah, I've seen a few Suburbans here. I watched the Bumblebee movie, and they had a whole bunch of Suburbans in it. Because, you know, Mike, that movie, it takes place in 1987. Oh, right. So all the cars in it are cars from the 80s. It's really cool. It kind of feels like an 80s movie, too.
But I thought Bumblebee... Oh, I don't know. Oh, I guess like the new one. I don't know. I'm not up with the Transformers movies.
I'm not up with the Transformers movies either because I watched the first one and then I was like, oh, this is a Michael Bay movie, not a Transformers movie. And I was disinterested in the franchise going forward. But the Bumblebee one is not...
Oh.
I don't know what it is. Michael Bay is still involved in it somehow, except he's not like...
He's not putting all the explosions.
The main guy. I don't follow movies at all. I don't really have time for that. So, but no, it was different and it was good. And I know a lot of people didn't like it very much, and a lot of people really did. There seems to be some sort of a divide. But I think part of the reason people didn't like it is because it doesn't feel like a movie of nowadays. Nowadays, the lead actor is always super hot.
John Cena's in there. Did you see him during the movie?
He's one of the main characters.
Could you see him though? You know why I say that, right?
I don't know.
He's got this thing where he's like, you can't see me. So everyone's like, we can't see John Cena.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't watch, I don't follow wrestling either. Yeah. Okay, show me another car, give me a question. We can't talk about movies. We can't have people come in and go, Derek's talking about movies that he knows nothing about at all, and he's talking about John Cena and wrestling. He doesn't know anything about that. He's just a little guy in the corner.
Let's give him a car. AE101.
Okay.
JU Akita 9014.
Akita's a really small auction.
It looks like someone's garage.
This is probably going to be super cheap. That's kind of cool. This one would be the one with the silver top 4AG in it. That'd be somewhere around 150 horsepower? Somewhere around there. 5-speed manual on it. Looks like the condition of the car is pretty good, other than the paint fade or paint peel on the roof and the hood, as can be seen here. I think it's a good front end on this one. Which one do you like better, Mike? This one or the one that we drove in the mountains?
I like the styling on the A111.
Yeah. It's more aggressive, right? This kind of just looks like a regular 90s sedan.
Yeah.
It looks a little bit like the Celica of the 90s, right? Just a miniature version of the... Especially looking at the back here, because you know the Celica, the 180 series came in a notch back as well.
I think if you change the front end, like the bumper, make it lower, it might look really good. The headlights are kind of unique.
And then low mileage at 68,000 kilometers. And battery needs to be replaced. Dashboard comes up. Very common thing of 90s Japanese cars. What is this? I can't read that. It looks like it says exhaust leak, and then shift knob wear, door mirrors, paint peeling, various scratches, dents, and repairs, underside surface rust. It's actually not a bad car. Nice low mileage. Condition is good. The paint color is a little bit odd. In fact, the seller didn't even want to say what color it was. He said whatever it is as the paint color, but he gave a number, 6M3. Let's have a quick look what that is. So it looks just regular silver in these pictures, but and available in lots of different cars. The Trudeau badge on the front. Sprinter Trudeau GT Apex. That's going to lead people to want to have it. And legal for the US. So, I don't know. It looks like the kind of car that could be overlooked and can be had for a good deal. I think in the States, I couldn't see people paying more than about $7,500 for this, or maybe around $8,000. Put some nice wheels on it, lower it. I think you can make the car look cooler. But I agree with you, Mike. The front bumper is really lackluster.
Yeah.
I would say.
I'm gonna switch to the modified one. After.
Derek, did you guys sell any Hakoska before? Just one, actually, and we had a bit of a problem with that. We bought it from a dealer, and then the day it came in, it broke. And then the dealer was like, not my fault. And we were like, can you at least repair it at your shop? And they're like, not my fault, can't repair it here. And so we had to take it to a different shop, and it was a big pain in the butt. I can't even remember what was wrong with it. It was like a broken starter or something like that. Elizabeth wants an S14 Nismo. I don't know what an S14 Nismo is. I know what an S14 is, but I don't think Nismo made a special model of that. Oh, except for the 270R, maybe. Of course, we're going to find something that is not. If you're talking about this, how many of these did they make? We were just talking about this, like 22 of them or something? Or
I think it was 50.
50? Because they made 44 of the 400Rs, right? And then they made more of these or less?
Yeah, I think it was more of these.
So one of them in reasonable condition sold for 2.7 million. So that's about 25,000 US dollars. And what you get is a Sylvia that has been massaged by the Omori factory, the same that makes the... What?
Massaged by the Omori factory? I like that.
Made to have 270 horsepower instead of the regular 220, and then you get decals and body things. All of this is stock on the car, right down to the wheels.
Yeah, they made 50.
50 of them. So yeah, that one that we saw was it last week or the week before? It's like the second one I've seen in 12 years we've been doing this. So you're probably not going to find them very easily, if at all. Mike equals single man giggles. I don't know what that means. Does the STI have good reliability reputation in Japan, being that it has a completely different engine from US? Yes. In the US it's known to blow head gaskets, and in Japan it's not known to blow head gaskets. The engines here are as reliable as anything else. In fact, I see way more Evos that are broken at auction than I see Imprezas broken at auction.
That's true.
But then again, you have to look at it this way. The Evo is much more commonly used as a track car than the Impreza is, and likely because of its reliability and ease of tuning. And so it could be that because more people use it for actual racing, it's more commonly seen in a broken state. So don't really know. Don't know the answer to that, but I would say there really is no big problem with that car, with reliability. Excuse me. Suzuki Cappuccino, Brandon's asking, average auction price. We see them quite often go at around 200,000 for bad ones and up to about 400, 450,000 for good ones, and then really nice ones are over that up to about 700,000. Subaru SVX seems to be an unloved car. 1964 core van. Not many people interested in importing them to the USA, even though they're legal now. You got that car in the USA, and so it's not really one of these special only in Japan type cars in the same way that the Mazda Cosmo is. I'd say prices are somewhere around 300,000 yen or 400,000 yen. Yeah, we don't sell a lot of cars to people in Ontario because insurance there is a big pain in the butt for right-hand drivers. We sell a few, maybe one. I don't even want to say a number. I don't know how often we do. We get a lot of inquiries, but it takes a long time for cars to get there, and it's also very expensive for shipping from Vancouver to Toronto because it's a very big distance, several thousand kilometers.
It's like a BP5 Legacy that looks really good. 10151 Mirai. I like it a lot. I would like to own it.
And that's the one in the blue.
Yes.
That actually looks stock. I think that I think the wheels and the aero there are both options that you can get for the BP.
Ooh.
And I think the seats as well. But this is really good looking. Ooh, this is a special version, the BWR Limited 2004. I think that this is just a trim level. They didn't make an STI version of this generation of the Legacy. They made some that were STI parts that you could get for the car. It looks like this bumper lip is probably one of them, and it'll say STI on this little plaque here. It looks great in that color, especially with the gold wheels and the dual exhaust. Although I'd go for a little bit bigger exhaust. I love a Legacy with big exhaust. Not one with a cracked dashboard though. Yuck. But the body's really good except for the front lip, and that's because it's very low. This A3 will be large scratches, most likely on the very bottom, so you wouldn't be able to see it very much. But there may be some paint cracks or something on the lip. But easy enough to take that off and repaint it if we really wanted to. The bumper is quite interesting here though, because like, look, the grille and the bumper are all one piece, whereas the stock one will have a different grille and bumper pieces. That's a really good looking bumper too. I like that. Very modern for a car that's as old as this. So the 2.0 GT will have the turbocharged EJ20 single turbo engine, puts out 280 horsepower. This one has a 5-speed manual. This is a really nice car. This is your next car, Mike.
Yeah, let's buy it.
Mike, sell the bike and buy this.
Yeah.
We need to wait for our customers to pay for their cars before we buy any more inventory cars. That's something I want to do right now instead of live stream, is find out why people aren't paying for their invoices on time. Because I would very much like to have the money that they owe us.
Yes.
We always get people saying, there are people who bid on cars and buy them and they don't pay for their invoices? Yeah, it happens semi-frequently. There's really no damage with this car other than the dashboard being cracked. It says windshield rock chip, interior dirty and scratched, and various scratches and dents, wheels scratched, and door mirror scratched. Still has plates on it. I guess it's built off the GTB because here's the Bilstein logo on the back. That's good. 2004 July.
My mind's like, should we buy this car? I would like to have it.
Do you want to put it into the list? It comes through auction tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because maybe like the Miata that we bought, it'll just, nobody will bid on it and we can go and snag it for a good price.
Yeah.
Because this looks like one of the best Legacies that I've seen. I quite like it, and I'd be interested to see what the BWR Limited entails. I think it is bumpers, side skirts, wheels, headlight, eyebrows, seats. There might be some other things, but I don't think that there's any performance differences because Subaru made performance versions of the cars, except those are like the S402, S403, and then they didn't make any other performance enhancing versions of the Legacy during that era. Yeah, it looks good. Good pick there. I think it'll go for about 450,000 yen. Have you ever imported a GT86 to Australia? No. We have not sold a single GT86, like the new 86. We've sent an AE86 to Australia, but that's a sad story and I don't want to tell it. Nicholas says you got my payment, right?
Yeah, I think we got Nicholas, yeah.
You're not on my naughty list.
Yeah.
We do ship to Halifax, yes, but if you're in Ontario, it's better to ship to New Westminster, and if you're in Quebec, it's better to send it to Halifax. Somebody says, how come, Elizabeth says, how come only 38 R34 Nismos V-Spec? I don't know what you're looking that up, but that sounds like an awful lot to me. That's the bidding alarm, yep. Mike, in case you're not hearing bidding alarms recently.
I did hear that one. I'm not sure if that other one went off.
That car sold for 366,000 yen a week ago, says John Clark. Let's have a look. John. Oh, wow, it has a big history. Ah, this is crazy. Take a look in J.U. Miyagi, which is an odd auction that nobody ever buys at. Somebody decided to send this car there. So that's the seller's fault for sending this car to a stupid auction to get a low price. But sometimes people will get a trade-in and they won't realize that it has some value at a better auction. So they'll send it to the local tiny auction where they send all of their cars because they really don't care. They'll buy something like this for like 50,000 yen or less, or sometimes not even buy it off of the person from a trade-in, because generally speaking, a Japanese person will, when they have a car that's 15 years old, they'll assume it's not worth anything, and so they'll be willing to take nothing on a trade-in. And so he's like, oh, I didn't pay anything for this car. I'll just send it to auction and get whatever. And then it sold for a stupid low price. And then I don't know if this is the exact same car though. This is kind of a weird history because it might be this one here. The way that has this car being at auction before Link works is that it pulls the cars if it's the same color and the same mileage and the same transmission. So it just kind of guesses, but you might have two that are the same. So for example, this one here has VIN number 142. Let's just confirm that it's the same. See, this one has 910, so it's not the same car. It's just one that it looks very similar. So I don't know which ones are this one. Let's just check if this one was. This was last week, and it sold for $366, and this one is $910, so it is the same one. So what happened in this case is somebody bought the car from CAA Tokyo for 366,000 yen, so 3,500 US dollars, and then sent the car to MyRive, which is a more expensive auction than CAA Tokyo, in hopes that they can turn some profit, and so they'll have a high reserve price. And this is getting into something of a, I don't want to say expert because it's not that difficult to do, but if you've been buying cars for a while, it's good to get in the habit of clicking this little button here, finding out if the car has been at auction before, and see, oh, it sold for $366. Guaranteed the person who bought that sent it back to auction to make a profit. And their strategy there is to put the reserve price at the highest possible amount that'll guarantee a sale, or not even guarantee a sale. They'll be happy for it to sit at auction for several weeks until somebody will overpay for it. So I don't think that the seller is going to want anything less than $500 for it, which to me seems to be a little bit expensive. $366 sounds like a good value for this one, but I don't want to pay somebody's profit in there unless you absolutely need to have that car. And you'll find that the people who are doing this kind of flipping of the cars, they tend to target cars that give the people the, man, I gotta get that car kind of feeling. And that's exactly what you see with this kind of car, is somebody's going to be like, wow, that Legacy looks great, and this kind of Legacy doesn't come up that often. I'll be willing to pay a big price for it, and then the seller gets to reap the benefits for that. And I'd like to announce, everyone, we got Christian, I can't pronounce your last name, sent us $1. $1. I don't know if you're from the US, but $1 would be around 115 yen. So we'll add that to the pile of money that we have here.
Minus YouTube fees.
Yeah.
50 yen.
I'll show you. We got cold hard cash here. And this is, I'll show you all of them. 500 yen. 100 yen, and a few other ones, 50 yen. This is our money that we made from this live stream. We were almost at 50 bucks. That's not 100% true. I don't know exactly where this money came from, but it's for like staff lunch or something like that. So thank you, Christian, for sending that in. Isaguirre. Sorry about that. I know, I'm terrible. We're at 30 minutes now. We're going to have to cut this short. It'll be an hour next week, hopefully, if we can catch up enough. But Mike is going to be taking almost 2 weeks off because his parents are here, and during that time I'm going to be super busy. Likely I'm not going to be streaming during that time. So, sorry, everybody. Sorry. Goodbye. See you next week.
Bye, everyone.